All good?
All good on our end. Rock and roll.
All right, Rory, don't be nervous. You've done this plenty of times before. All right, we'll go get started. Man that needs no introduction, Rory McIlroy, thanks for joining us here at the World Golf Championships FedEx St. Jude Invitational. Rory, making your 11th start in the event, which you won 2014. Got 6 top 10 finishes in 3 of your last 4 starts. Just some thoughts on being back here and how you're feeling heading into round 1 tomorrow.
Yeah, good to be back. You know, Memphis is now become obviously a permanent stop on the schedule, with it being a WGC and then turning into the first leg of the playoffs next year. And it's great. I mean, this course here in Memphis it's a wonderful golf course. I think it always produces great winners, great champions. You have to play some really good golf here to contend and win. So yeah, good to be back. You know, it's been a whirlwind few weeks with being over in Europe and then Tokyo last week and sort of here, there and everywhere. So, it was nice to get a couple nights in my own bed before flying up here last night, and got to look at 9 holes of the golf course this morning and do a little practice after this and go out and play tomorrow.
Okay, well, I know you're on borrowed time, so we'll keep things moving along quick. We'll jump right in and start with Bob Herrick with ESPN. Bob, go ahead.
Thanks, Doug. Hey, Rory.
Hey, Bob.
It's been quite the hectic month or so here for you guys. And JT kind of spelled that out. He put a social media post up about all the miles traveled from going to Scotland and then the Open, Tokyo, such. I'm just curious if you try to not think about that in terms of the distance traveled here, or do you have to embrace it and recognize that you're putting yourself through a lot here in order to compete, and then still with a lot to go yet?
Yeah, I feel like I'm sort of used to it. I mean, obviously the last year and a half we haven't traveled that much because of COVID and international events and whatever. But yeah, it's fine. I mean, the only thing is just trying to get over the jet lag, and that's going across the date line and coming back again. That's probably the most difficult thing. But in terms of distance traveled, I don't really. I mean, it's whether you spend 5 hours on a plane or 14 or whatever. I mean, it's all the same at the end of the day. And it's as long as you get enough rest, which I try to do, and I'll try to get a good night's sleep tonight and be ready to go for the first round tomorrow.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, next we've got Jamie Weir with Sky Sports.
Hi there, Rory. How's it going?
Good, Jimmy.
Wonderful to hear you talk in such glowing terms about what last week meant to you and becoming an Olympian and being bitten by the bug and all that. I'm just wondering, is it difficult to sort of almost get yourself up for being back to the normal day job, having had such an emotional and unique and special week?
Yeah, last week was certainly unexpected, I would say. I certainly didn't expect to feel the way I did when I was there. But it was great. It was a great experience. I had a wonderful time. I had a good chance of getting a medal there at the end, and it didn't quite pan out. But it was a great week. I'm already looking forward to Paris. But this is what we do week in, week out. We're back to playing and this format, and I don't think it'll be hard. I mean, I remember thinking to myself, geez, will it be hard when fans come back after playing and all this cool? And you just sort of, I mean, it's what we've done for basically, it's what I've done for the last 12 or 13 years. So I think that experience and all everything that's built up over the years, that doesn't you sort of you get back into that mode pretty easily, I guess.
And just a second question from me. Never let it be said I don't ask the hard-hitting questions. Does Rory McIlroy play his best golf hatless? And if so, is that a conversation to be had with Nike down the line?
I certainly seem to play okay. I wish I was wearing a hat last week. It was so hot, and I probably needed a hat. And I was sun cream dripping into the eyes and squinting, and so happy to have a hat back on my head this week. But I don't mind it. I mean, I usually wear a hat when I'm at home playing. I just, I don't want to look stupid with a hat that's too big on me going to some of these team events. But Ryder Cup Europe have assured me that the hats this year are going to be a good fit. So I'll hopefully have a hat on my head for Whistling Straits.
You've got those George Clooney flecks of grey now as well. Don't
Go there. Don't go there.
Cheers, Rory.
Cheers.
Okay, we move now to Bernie McGuire with the daily record. Bernie.
Roars, well done also in going so close last week in Japan.
Cheers, Bernie.
I'm going to ask you, as an Irishman, what was your thoughts on the news yesterday about the big rise in prize money for the Irish Open?
Yeah, great. I mean, I think this is just one of the benefits of the strategic partnership between the PGA Tour and the European Tour. Obviously, the Scottish Open being a FedexCup event next year is huge. The Irish Open getting a little burst of money in the prize fund and that going up to $6 million. Look, it's all headed in the right direction, and I think it's wonderful for everyone involved. I've always said, we're all in this thing together, and we need to be pulling in the same direction, and this is the start of it, which is great.
Just quickly as a follow-up, because I know your time's pretty limited, did you have any input in relation to the decision about the Scottish Open and the two events on the PGA Tour? And just also as a follow-up, the Irish Open, can you see the Irish Open becoming one day co-sanctioned with the PGA Tour?
Yeah, look, I've sat in all the PAC meeting discussions. I sat on. There was 2 board calls, a couple of weeks ago to get it over the line, and so look, I've been privy to those conversations, and it's great that all the parties involved were able to agree on the sort of smaller details and get it done. So really happy about that, and hopefully down the line the Irish Open, because I think it's the start of something something a little, I don't know what the word is, bigger or more substantial, but hopefully one day you'd maybe see the Irish Open becoming similar to what the Scottish Open has for next year.
Great, thanks for your time and good luck this week too, Ross.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to Shane Ryan with Golf Digest.
Hey Rory, I've got a quick Ryder Cup question for you. There seems to be a pattern over the last about 30 years where Europe wins every time at home and then half the time in the U.S. And looking at your history, you've had one of each on American soil. Obviously the comeback of Medina, and then Hazeltine went the other way. You've got that challenge ahead of you this week, and I'm just curious, it's a broad question I suppose, but what is the biggest, hardest part of playing a Ryder Cup on the road? What makes it more difficult than playing at home?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think you're not just playing the US team and the 12 players. You're playing the fans and the crowd and and that has a little bit of extra pressure in itself. It's tough. I mean, I think as well as the years have went on, it's become even harder to win on the road. Like you look at the US team that used to win on the road pretty frequently, and then as time has went on, probably starting with, I don't know, would it have been, I don't know, 90, when Europe won 95 at Oak Hill, 97. So, it's been a while, I guess. Has it? When did the US last win on?
93.
93 at Belfry.
Road win for them.
Yeah. So, look, it's been and Europe have been, we've been lucky to get a couple of road wins ourselves in that time, but it's I think it's just increasingly more difficult because as I think there's been a captain's agreement where which has only been in place now for the last couple of Ryder Cups, that the captains can't really mess with the golf course too much the start of the week. They can sort of have their input going into the week, but then once they get into the week, they sort of leave it alone. So I think that's been a big part of it. Even the way like you contrast the way the Golf National was set up in Paris compared to the way Hazeltine was set up in 16. Like the Golf National was set up, more in favor of how our guys play, and then Hazeltine is in favor of how the US guys play. So, but it's hard. I mean, you try to give yourself as much of an advantage as possible when you're at home, and I think you've seen that over the years. But it's a tough one. I think. I mean, there's so much that goes into it, but you're playing on the road, you're playing the crowd. That has challenges itself, and I don't really know what a broad question has created a broad answer here, but I don't know if I can sort of pick out one specific thing that is the reason for that.
And just as a really quick nuts and bolts follow-up, how often do you and Patrick communicate about the Ryder Cup?
Padraig or Patrick?
Sorry, Padraig.
Okay, yeah. I was going to Patrick Reed. I'm like, never. But Padraig Harrington, quite a lot. Yeah, I mean, we're in contact most weeks. Just sort of going back and forth, but most weeks we're there's a couple of texts that are exchanged.
I appreciate it, Rory. Thank you.
Thanks, Shane.
Okay, final three. Chris Datras, Golf Channel, lead us off.
Hey, Rory. You mentioned earlier about getting back to what you guys do after the majors and the Olympics. Where is your focus now in your game to attain the goals that you want for the rest of the season?
Yeah, so I think the Olympics was a big week for me last week because I played with more freedom there, and that obviously panned out well. I played my best tournament I've played since the US Open, which was good. So I think that's really the focus for me over these next few weeks is play with as much freedom as possible, and that's really it. I know if I do that, then I'll be able to play some of my best golf, or at least give myself the chance to play my best golf. So more freedom, less thought, more fun. Just try to have a little more fun with it and go from there.
Chris, are you still talking or are you frozen?
I think he's gone, Doug.
Okay, all right. We will move on to Phil Casey of PA Media UK. Phil, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, Rory. Two very unrelated questions. Firstly, what did Shane say to you when you showed him the putt that wouldn't go in on the 11th in the playoff?
Stop moaning. No, no, I just sort of it was funny because the way the light was, that green got pretty chewed up at the end of the day. And I was just showing him, I was like, geez, it was like, I had a good putt, and it was one of those, it took a bump halfway down the putt and sort of went a bit further right, and that's all I was really showing him.
And just in terms of the FedEx Cup, I think you're currently 25th in the standings, if I've read that correctly. Just what do you sort of need to do over the next few weeks to get yourself back into contention to win it again?
Basically the same answer that I gave the last question. Just play with a bit more freedom, have fun with it, not think about where I'm at or what I need to do, or just go out and play golf and try to shoot good scores and make birdies. And if I do that for a few weeks in a row here, I think I'll be okay.
Excellent. Thanks. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Okay, and last question comes from Cameron Morgan of PGAtour.com.
Hey, Rory.
Hey, Cam.
This is a little bit out of left field, but on Monday there was a 25-year-old Australian pro named Justin Warren who was trying to qualify for the Barracuda, and he was in a sudden death playoff for the last qualifying spot, and he missed a 1-foot putt that has gone viral on golf Twitter and around the internet. Just was wondering if you had any advice for him. He says you're his favorite golfer, and I was just wondering if you had any advice for him kind of going forward.
Don't miss 1-footers, I guess, is a piece of advice. I guess that's a little bit tough love. Yeah, I mean, like my first chance to win a professional event was in Cron-sur-Sierre in the European Masters in 2008, and I basically missed like a 1.5 footer in a playoff. And it probably, I thought about it for a long time until I got that first win. But I mean, I guess the solace he can take is he's played well enough to give himself a chance. Like, we all do dumb things under pressure at times, and I've certainly done them. And the next time, I learned from that I every putt that I had, I took a little bit more time, and I wasn't quite as careless. And so there's a lot of things you can learn from these things. But I guess he can take encouragement that he gave himself a chance, and he played well to be in that spot.
All right, thank you, Rory.
Thanks.
All right, Rory, we will cut you loose. Thanks for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Doug.
Wish you the best of luck.
See ya.
Can we do that?